Hello, beautiful people. How are you all? So, I've been given full permission to share this experience that I had today with a client. I facilitated a Yoni worship ritual. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to just sharing a bit about that. And there's a bit to it, but my intention is to be really clear and to take my time. So I find that sometimes on my live streams, I try to get a lot out, and I try to go quite fast if I can, because I feel like there's so much, and I tell myself that I need to do it quickly, and then sometimes it can just come out as a bit of a mess. Maybe it doesn't seem that way, but my intention is to just take things a little bit more slowly and to really feel and speak from feeling. So yeah, so I'm going to come from that place in this live stream, and I think it's really important because ultimately this kind of kind of ritual of Yoni worship is about feeling. It is about being in our feelings, and our allowing emotions to surface, allowing ourselves to be in surrender to whatever's there. So that's my intention, is to just be in my feeling and express from that place. And I wrote some notes because I wanted to kind of have some kind of masculine structure to then be able to go into my feeling, right? Which is kind of interesting, because that's how I needed to show up in my session, was to have that framework and that foundation of, so these are some of the things we're going to do, but then within that, allow myself to flow and allow my feelings to surface and my body to surrender to whatever sensations were there. So what happened is, basically I had a client come to see me who has done 2 tantric cock worship sessions with me before, and when he came to see me, one of the things that he said to me, which was so beautiful and really touched my heart, was that after the sessions that he's done with me, he just felt so happy, but not just happy, that he felt exceedingly happy was the words that he used. And, that just really touched my heart to get that kind of feedback from a man, because sometimes I have clients that I might not see again. And so to hear that really just makes me really know that my work is so valuable and is making a difference and is bringing people joy and happiness. And one of the reasons that I share this is because I'm so wanting to pass this knowledge on. I'm wanting other women to be able to experience this, or with the tantric cock worship, I would love every woman on the planet to know how to do this and to honor and worship men in this way. And it's just so beautiful what it does for a man. I can't, even the men can't describe it in words. They say I can't really describe what just happened in words. So it's hard for me to describe in words, but it's just so beautiful. And there's things like initiations and shifts inside them that they feel like a man again, like confident and loved up and seen, and just, things that they might have not felt in a really long time. And the thing is, it's not like it's so different to anything that's like porn, or it's just really deeply honoring, beautiful, sacred ritual. And it's something I've developed and I've been guided, or it's been channeled to me. And it's just come through with some of the different workshops that I've been to and learned from. And I've kind of brought a lot of different practices together, and then the men that have showed up in my space have helped me to develop this more and more, and to see what works, and to get feedback. And so it's a constantly development process, but I am ready to share this, and I am sharing it at my Art of Loving Men workshop, which is in May, and I'm going to be demonstrating it live, which feels a bit vulnerable, but my why for doing it is greater than my fear, and the vulnerability is around being seen in this, I guess, this sensuality, and in a very vulnerable space of I suppose, like, usually I'm just one-on-one with a man, no one else is there, so it is about me stepping into this place of being seen, and in the place where either I could be judged, but also I feel like what will happen is that it's going to touch people. It really is, and both the men and women that will be in the space. It is a women's workshop, but we will be inviting men into the space for a ritual. It won't be a cock worship ritual, but it'll be other things, other practices that happen within the cock worship ritual, which are a bit less intimate, but still it's intimacy on a different level. It's not like it's not a genital touch. But we'll see what's in flow for the workshop as well. I kind of feel guided. And I'm co-facilitating this with Aaron Kleinerman, who will be receiving the worship ritual, and I feel like that's also going to be vulnerable for him, right? So yeah, both of us stepping into our vulnerability. So I just wanted to touch on that, and if you are interested in coming and learning from me, this is a really beautiful opportunity, because I am going to be traveling, and I don't know when my next workshop is, because I'm not planning one anytime soon, because I am focusing on other things in travel. And so I wanted to really wanted to bring this through now and be able to pass it on. And this is my IP, right? This is it. So it's very valuable and to me, but it's also a gift. Like, it's a gift that I know that I have to share with so many women and so many men. And yeah, I think it would be like really selfish of me not to. So I want other people to experience this. Like, I just can't explain the passion that is there, and the joy that it brings, just not to my clients, but also to myself, to be able to share this work. So yeah, so I'm going to actually do another live stream on Tantric Cock Worship. So if you're interested in hearing about that, and I'm going to talk about what's involved with some of it, and some of the things that have happened for some of my clients, and men that I've been involved with, and with their permission. So just let me know if you're interested. Like, comment below like that you really like me to do that live stream, and I will do it. Let me know. Just write tantric or something, or give me some hearts. Give me some love. Give me some hearts if you love me to do that. Great. So let's talk about the session. So the first thing that I really discussed with my client was the intention for the session, and stating my boundaries, and my boundaries around where I was willing to be touched. All right, I'm not going to go into that now, but that's really important, is setting the intention. And the other piece that I really needed to speak to was around orgasm, and around like not being any expectation of me needing to have an orgasm, because that's not what the session is about. But also I spoke to the fact that I am multi-orgasmic, and my orgasms can look quite different. So sometimes it might be full body energy orgasm, where I'm like tingling or shaking or convulsing and I'm allowing that to flow through me. Sometimes I can have a G-spot orgasm. Sometimes it might be clitoral orgasm, although I don't clitoral orgasm very often now. I'm more focused on surrendered orgasms more than kind of more friction-based orgasm, which clitoral tends to be more friction-based. But I also allow whatever's in the space as well, without restricting to myself with wherever my body wants to go, or where it wants to flow, without trying to make anything happen, or not trying to make me come or make me have an orgasm. It's more about how to honor a woman, how to honor her body, and then from that place of helping a woman to feel safe, allowing what's ever there to come through and to be surrendered to effectively. So I'm going to speak more to that as we go, and you're going to see how that evolved, right? So that was the thing I spoke to, was I just like for there to be no expectation on how that looked, but also to feel safe, that I will have permission and allow myself and give myself permission to allow whatever's in the space to come through, right? Wherever my body wants to go. The other thing I spoke to was being able to call a pause at any time. Like, anytime I was feeling a bit uncomfortable or something just wasn't feeling right, that I could call a pause, and for us to connect with each other and check in with each other as to what I might be needing in that moment. And I think that's really important to know, is that from moment to moment, my body will change, and what was feeling good 2 minutes ago was feeling amazing, now actually I'm feeling like something completely different, and that's not feeling that great for me anymore. And so there's kind of a communication that needs to happen around this, and I'm going to talk to that shortly. But first of all was just setting that up to say, I'm going to pause. And because sometimes if we don't set this up, then we can feel a bit awkward around how do I speak up that, you know, what the person is doing or what he's doing is actually not feeling okay, because maybe I don't want to offend him, or I don't want to make the person wrong. This kind of thing can be in the space. So I just wanted to set that up and know that when I'm calling a pause, which often I'll use the word, have a word called orange, which is for orange light, slow down. It's actually not about making what the person is doing wrong. It's about saying like, okay, let me check in with my body and what I'm ready for right now, or what I'm comfortable with, or where my body wants to be touched, this kind of thing. So it's like, oh, let's stop, reconnect, slow down, see what else is available, right? So that was kind of setting that up. And so the first thing that I did in this ritual was an undressing ritual. And so this is actually something I do in my cock worship sessions, as I actually undress the man very slowly and sensually. And it's about honoring and appreciating the other person's body, the other person's beauty. So for the Yoni worship, it's honoring the woman's beauty, honoring her body, honoring her as a goddess or a priestess. And what I encouraged my client was to start noticing is, when does it shift from the honoring into I desire you, I want to ravish you, I want to penetrate you, that energy of almost of going into taking. Now I want to take from you, and I don't mean take from you in a it's not like in a bad way. It's more of there's an energy of, okay, I'm honoring this person, I'm honoring who they are, I'm honoring their body. And then it's this penetrative energy of like, oh, now I'm feeling desire. And to actually notice when that happens, because as women, we can feel that. We can feel it. We can really feel when a man is going from giving to taking. And sometimes that doesn't feel safe. Sometimes it makes me want to pull away. Sometimes I'm like, hang on, no, this is... I thought you were giving to me, and now I'm feeling that you're taking from me, and that's actually not what I want right now, and that's not feeling safe for me. Now, the more in tune a woman is with her body, the more she's going to be able to feel this, right? The more she's going to know, right? And we, as intuitive creatures, we can feel these things, and sometimes I want to be taken, and sometimes I want to be ravished, sometimes I want to be deeply, deeply desired, like so many women desire, really want to be desired, and like makes us feel amazing to be desired. But if I'm not feeling safe, then I might not be able to receive that desire, right? I might not be able to receive that man's desire for me, and this is the time where I need to call a pause and to check in. And maybe it's about asking, to go back to some kind of slow touch. You'd be checking and tuning with your body and being able to ask for what you want. The common issue that I see here is so many women don't know how to do that. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to ask for what they want. They maybe don't think they know what they want. The body always knows, right? It's because the mind is in some sort of story about why they can't ask for what they want, or maybe they've never been able to ask for what they want, or they don't deserve to be asked for what they want, right? And that will block the connection to the body being able to tune in and go, I'm feeling that I would love to receive this kind of touch, right? So in the undressing ritual, it's really setting that up and starting to notice, you know, how does it feel to be honored? And I get the client to notice when they are going into that taking, and to not go into it, but to just be with it, and to not make it wrong either, right? To not judge themselves for it, but to just be with it and come back to themselves and keep asking themselves, how can I honor her? Okay, how can I honor her beauty? How can I honor her body? And come from that place, and then keep coming back to, I've gone, noticing when they've gone into the wanting to penetrate, and coming back and using breath as well to control that too. And really important not to make for the man to not make himself wrong for that, and almost speak to that. So I was having a bit of a dialogue with this client about noticing, and You know, what is coming up for him? Is he desiring me? And, you know, we actually had a conversation about this. So in this particular Yoni worship ritual, I'm teaching a man how to do it. So we effectively are doing the ritual, but from a place of teaching, right? So he can then go off and then he can go and do that with another woman, where this woman could fully surrender, right? Because when I'm in a teaching role, sometimes I find it really difficult to surrender because I'm in my head teaching, right, and effectively leading, and then have to go into surrender. So there's also something that I set up at the start of the session. I address that and say, you know, sometimes I might not be able to surrender because I am teaching, but I will call pauses and then check in with what I need and communicate that with you, right? So after that, we had a beautiful sensual hug, and that was something that, actually we were eye gazing first, and then it was so beautiful. Oh, it was so beautiful. I just felt I could really feel his heart and connect with his heart, and I felt I could really see him, and I felt really seen by him, and I felt just he was in this energy of feeling me instead of wanting to penetrate me. It was this feeling, I feel you, right? I feel you and I see you, not I want to fuck you. And it was just felt, and the longer I kind of stayed in that, the more safe that I felt, right? And then he asked me, and I said to him, what's alive in you? And he said to me, I really like to hug you. And so we had a beautiful hug, and again, it was creating more safety. And one of the things I also teach is the importance of holding a woman and how it feels to be held, right? And so often, and I see this commonly in my sessions with men, and it's one of probably the biggest things that I have to teach, is that men are so focused on having to do something. Like, I have to do something to you to make you feel pleasure. I have to do something to you to make you come to orgasm. And what I found in my experience especially after I've rewired myself into and come back into my body, is that and I can be held and get so aroused and turned on just from being held because I feel safe. And so really encourage men to look at how can I hold a woman, and to start noticing, and it's really interesting how I see this, how much they want to move, how much they want to like do something, right? Because there is this energy of this penetrated doing energy to make something happen. But in these situations where a man is leading and a woman is surrendering, the masculine is the strong stillness, right? And the woman is the flow, right? So when he holds her, this gives her body the safety to then flow, and from that is the pleasure, is the bliss, is the orgasm, right? So this is kind of like what the whole session really is based on, is like it's how do you make a woman feel safe and held for her to surrender? That's really what it's about. And so all these different practices that we're doing within the session is creating this, right? And it's very slow and it's very sensual. So, So the next piece we went into, I'm just tuning in. I've got checking on my notes, making sure I'm having some kind of order within my flow. Is then we went to lying down. So I was lying down, and I just came into my body and took some deep breaths and checked in with how do I want to be touched to start with. Like, what would actually do I need to feel more safe first? Is there something do I need to be held? And I was feeling a little bit of, okay, I need to be held a bit more before I'm ready to be touched more in a, I guess, a movement way. And so I asked him to put one hand on my heart and one hand on my yoni, and just to hold it there. And the reason for this is because we're connecting the yoni and the heart, because most women are quite disconnected between the yoni and the heart. So we're holding, and then holding and connecting, and then the next piece is to actually create that safety, right? Create that safety. And so what I started to notice was that he started to move his hands, just kind of in a gentle kind of this need to move and do something. And so I gently asked him if he would please see if I said it in a way, I was like, as more of a challenge way, because again, this is a teaching session. So I was see if you can hold still. See how challenge yourself to hold still, right? And noticing this need to move, right? And so he did really well at holding still, I must admit. And it was beautiful, because then what happened, as I was breathing, I started to feel this pulsating in my yoni, this intense pulsating. It was intense, and this movement and this aliveness from within. And all he was doing was holding his hands completely still. And I checked in and I shared with him. And so this is the beauty of when I do the session, I actually tell the man bit by bit what I'm feeling, to give him the feedback and understanding of what's actually happening to a woman, or to me specifically. Every woman's different, but there's lots of similarities in my body when he does these things, because otherwise men have no idea, right? And so it's almost like an insider secret, I feel, to get a woman to tell you exactly how she's feeling from moment to moment and exactly what she's wanting. Most men deeply desire to know what a woman wants and how she's feeling. And so within this, it's I'm giving a lot of feedback and a lot of this is what's alive in me right now. And I said to him, this is what I'm feeling in my yoni. And he said, yeah, I can feel the energy. So he could actually feel it when he held still, right? But I can guarantee you, if he was moving, he would not be able to feel the intensity of the energy that was rising within my yoni, right? So, and then I felt something coming up in my space that I needed to share with him. And so what I was feeling, this piece around needing to give myself permission to feel or be orgasmic, and to make sound, right? So I was feeling I was needing to to access what was going on down there more, was to sound, because the throat is very connected to the yoni. So the more sound you make, the more you're opening to pleasure. And I could feel the pulsating, so I knew the sound was wanting to come. But yet there was this piece of me that was I feel there's a permission that I need to give myself. And this is really common, and it is important, is to give yourself permission to make sound, to be orgasmic, to feel pleasure, right? So I said that to him. I said, I'm giving myself permission to make sound and to feel the orgasmic sensations that are rising in me and wanting to come through my body. And so I expressed this to him, and then he met that, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but I felt met in that. And so, and then I did make sound, and then what I was feeling is I wanted him to just cut my yoni really firmly, so just to cut really firmly. So he took the hand off the heart and just wanted him to focus on the yoni, and I felt it was kind of holding the energy that was there, that was pulsating. And then what happens, I started to feel these energy orgasms coming through me and through my body, pulsating up from the yoni into my heart, through my body. It was incredible. It was such a beautiful feeling, and as well as making sound to move that as well. So, and then I started laughing. And again, this is all about full permission space to feel whatever joy and bliss and pleasure and expression is there, right? So often we think we shouldn't cry or we shouldn't laugh in sexual experiences because, that's been made wrong and bad at some point in our lives. So I now I'm laughing, and the reason why I'm laughing is because I had this thing that come up in me, this thought of, it was like this thought of, I can't believe like that I'm just having these orgasmic sensations just from him holding me, even though my logical mind is like, of course, and I've experienced this before plenty of times, and I know this and I teach this, but it just, sometimes it still amazes me that for so long that I was conditioned to believe that there was so much work to go into having an orgasm. Like you had to do this thing and then that thing and I need this, and for so long it was all based on this friction base, and I would be having like, oh, I need so much to get there, right? And then I'm like just completely surrendered and feeling just whatever's there without it needing to look like anything or be anything, but just being with what's there and what comes from that place, instead of like pushing and striving and trying to make it happen and force things to happen, like I used to do when I used to try and have a clitoral orgasm. It was always like, okay, like there was like a process that I had to like, okay, the man penetrates me and I rub my clit and then I come, and I just kind of had to reflect, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that like I had it all wrong, you know, like this thought of like, oh my God, for so many years, like I just had, like, I can't believe I didn't know this, and I just believed that was the way, which I'm sure some of you can, listening to this, can resonate, and let me know if you resonate, if that resonates for you, and maybe you're still in that way, and maybe this is all new for you, right? Which is why I'm here, and it's like I want this to be reaching other people, and please feel free to share this live stream wherever you like. Feel free, if there's people that you think need to know this, you can tag them in, you can share, whatever you want to do. And then as I've been talking now, I've been like, well, isn't this interesting? Like, how is this reflected in my life? Like in my life of where I had been so in this masculine energy of pushing and striving and doing, yet the deepest pleasure and joy and happiness in my life has been from when I've actually been surrendered to life, and the bliss that has come from being in the beingness, right? And how you show up in the bedroom, or maybe how you show up with your orgasm, is how you might be showing up in your life, or how you might be showing up in other areas, right? Because usually the way you do one thing is reflected in how you do other things. So yeah, change your orgasm and change your life. But the more you work on becoming more sexually expressive, more sensual, that's not the right word, sorry, more receptive, more in flow in your sexual experiences, the more that's going to show up in the rest of your life, right? Because we are sexual beings. And also things like full body orgasm raise your vibration. So then when you're doing this, you're raising your vibration, and then you just start attracting like magical things. I mean, people that follow me know the things that have showed up in my life, sometimes out of nowhere, right? So, I mean, I'm doing a TV interview for a US show on Thursday, and it was just totally out of nowhere, right? And I truly believe that it's all because of full body energy orgasm. It's for a lot of reasons, but yeah, there's a lot of things to it. But more has come from a surrendered space rather than a pushing and trying to make shit happen space. So, okay, so when I started laughing, I kind of went on a little tangent there, but that needed to drop in. So, so after I started laughing, which, you know, he thought it was great because he liked seeing me in my joy, and actually he learned, he's like, oh, that's really interesting, and he was really interested in what I was sharing, and yeah, so, and coming from a woman's point of view, like, this is like gold to a lot of men, like, wow, like, I can't believe women, I didn't know that women thought these things sometimes, right? So then I felt this, like, this, one of the things that I enjoy is, and I feel a bit funny, and maybe it's a bit of shame around this, because I'm all about tantric and sensuality, but then sometimes I like exploring different things as well. So I was getting him to build sensation through tapping, like, okay, more like slapping my yoni. But it was like this kind of slapping energy, and what this is like a fire energy. And I mean, not all women are going to be open to this, but I asked for it, right? And so it's like this slapping, which I find builds this real fire and like intense sensation in my yoni, which then rises up through me, like rises up. It's really amazing feeling. Don't do it for very long, but it's because it can get too much. But I found it was really interesting when I first started exploring this. Like, I never thought that I'd actually really enjoy having my pussy slapped. So yeah, actually I feel like I just totally own that now, and now the shame is gone. That's the beauty about these things. So sometimes when you just show up in your own things that you might feel shame about, then, or there's some kind of piece there where you feel like, oh, that feels edgy to share, and then you show up and you share it. It can be beautifully healing. So yeah. Okay, and so then I wanted to have some oil, so I use coconut oil, and I usually heat it up. And we just explored different massage practices. Now, this wasn't a kind of like, do this practice and do that practice. One of the things I do teach is Yoni massage, and I teach other people how to do this. But it wasn't a Yoni massage. It was me tuning in to my Yoni from moment to moment with what she wanted. Okay, being really tuned in, and it's like, oh, I'm feeling that I would love this. And taking my time, and it's not a rush thing. It's not like, it's not trying to make something happen. It's like an exploration of the different sensations, of the different touch, and exploring what I am liking, enjoying, and loving, and what my yoni wants more of, or needs to change the pace, right? And so and then what I also find is these waves, right? There's these waves of like, oh, that's feeling amazing, and then I'm getting really aroused, and then it drops a little bit, and then I get aroused and I drop, and I arouse and I drop. And so it's also being okay with that I'm not going to be super aroused all the time, right? And being okay with this kind of these waves of pleasure. And contraction and expansion, which is actually really normal, and for that not to be reflective of what the man's doing, or what, or his abilities to perform, or anything like that, because it's about my body. It's not actually about what he's doing, especially if I'm asking for what I want, especially if I'm tuning in. But what I found was really helpful is we had built this trust before with communication, and set up the framework that I'm going to let you know when I need to pause, and is that okay with you, and making sure there's some clear intentions and boundaries there, right? And the other thing was, someone just called me. They must know I'm talking about something juicy. And then whenever I was feeling a bit disconnected, knowing that it's okay to pause, and there was a point there where I just wanted to be to stop the massage, and to just be him to hold and not move. And then it was tuning in and checking in again, and I found myself like starting to want penetration. So in this session I teach finger penetration, and different, sometimes it might be G-spot massage or cervical massage, or there's different things, but sometimes it might be just what everyone wanting to feeling drawn to, right? So I was feeling this want for penetration. We were doing this practice where it was like this slow, very slow, with the palm, where it was slowly going up from the base of the yoni to the top, and then coming back down. Actually, it was the other way. And then I could kind of feel his finger on the outside, and then I'm feeling this desire of wanting more inside. And so with a woman's yoni, it's really important to wait for her to be ready, and to invite you in. And you'll know that by how juicy she is, right? But you want to check in with her, and at first, really important, really, really, really important, because a lot of women, they have traumas, and some of the reasons that women become a bit numb is because they've been penetrated before they're ready. And so I always make sure that I'm 100% ready. And so that's, as a woman, it's about us actually checking in and being able to say yes or no authentically, right? And as a man, you can check in and ask her and ask, are you ready to invite me to penetrate you? Whether it's with a penis or fingers or toys, whatever. And women, checking in with yourself when you're exploring self-pleasure as well. So, so I invited penetration, and instead of him like going in fast, it was a slow, more like a passive way where the yoni was actually drawing in rather than him pushing, like kind of just going in. It was like the yoni was opening and pulling in and squeezing and drawing, this kind of energy. This can feel really beautiful, especially with the cock, of actually the yoni drawing in. It's amazing how powerful she is and how juicy she is, and so and then we were just exploring. I was just tuning from moment to moment of this is what I'm feeling like receiving. And then there was a time where I felt like I don't want to be asking for anything now. I actually feel like I just want to surrender, and I want you to explore how you feel drawn and intuitively. But what I ask is that you come from a place of honor, and rather than trying to make me come or do things to me, it's about how can I honor this yoni? Where do I feel drawn to honor her, and how did, and feeling that, or feeling the different parts of the yoni without trying to do anything to it, right? Or to her. And so I also address that what I would like to do is, again, be able to call a pause, and that at times I might be feeling, oh, actually that was really good, I want more of that, right? Or you're going too fast, I want something, I want you to go slower. But I wouldn't word it that way. Instead, I wouldn't word it as in you're going too fast, slow down. It would come from a place of, that's really great. I would love it if you slowed down. I would love it even more if you slowed down. So it's giving acknowledgement, and being authentic with that acknowledgement. You know, I might be feeling really great, but you want it slower, right? So that feels really great, and I would love it if you went even slower. That would feel amazing for me, right? So I also noticed that he instantly went to the clitoris, which is very common. I see this very common, very, very common. And one of the things I train men out of is out of going directly to the clitoris. So although the clitoris is a gateway to orgasm and to pleasure, it's a gateway. I prefer not to have it as the go-to thing, right? Because I've had that most of my life, and now I've rewired myself out of that, and I've become orgasmic in other ways, and I don't need as much clitoral stimulation. And if anything, I prefer not to have too much of it. It's just me personally. But I also know it takes away from other parts of my yoni that I want to be explored. Yeah. So what we did is eventually, when I tuned into what I really wanted more of, was the slow rub that I was talking about before, the slow rub, but then when he slow rubbed down to actually insert a finger. Holy moly, it felt amazing. It was beautiful, it was incredible, like I just went into a complete, like, the state of ecstasy and energy orgasm, and it was really amazing. So, and I felt safe to go there, and that was the most important thing, is I felt really safe to go there. By him receiving my wants and desires, meeting them, and I'd also expressed to him that if there's something that I'm asking for that you're not willing to give, that you're not okay with, to say no. And then I would thank him for that, because even as a giver, you don't always have to give what that person asks, right? Even if you're in service, you're still got to be authentic with your yeses and your nos, right? So to complete, I asked him to put his hand on my yoni in my heart again, and just to hold there. So while I was holding there, I was allowing myself to feel more energy orgasms. and just to allow myself to be with that until it died down a little bit. And then we went into a sharing. So the first thing that I shared about was, like, I could see the joy on his face. I could see, like, this, oh, like, he was just, like, amazed, right? And I got curious, and I said, how, I asked for feedback. How was that for you? How are you feeling? And his words were, like, that words can't really describe, like this, like he said that this has blown my mind, and words can't really describe what he feels when he sees a woman in this much joy and bliss, like how, as a man, how it makes him feel. And then I just started, like, smiling and just laughing, and it's like in this, like, joy of hearing him express that. Because my reflection of that was, like, it just blows my mind still, even to this day, even though I'm fully aware of this now, that it makes men so happy to see a woman in this much joy and bliss, because for most of my life, I had thought the way to making a man happy was to make sure that he came, right? And to make sure that he was pleased. As long as he was happy, as long as he came, then I've done my job, basically. And was so detached from his happiness having anything to do with my orgasm. And then the more that I've learned about men, and the more that I've seen this in my sessions, the more that I've discovered how much men love it when they see a woman in her happiness, in her joy, in her bliss, in her pleasure. Like, it just, like, lights a man up. Like, it feels incredible. And yeah, so I shared that with him, and I said, this is so beautiful for me to see you in this happiness and bliss, because it's effectively, the more that I see it, the more it rewires how I see men and how I allow myself to be more in my pleasure and be in my orgasm, right? But also not doing it for them to make them happy, doing it for myself, right? The other thing he said was that when I said that I feel safe, it made him feel really good. He was just like, yep. And that's what he said. He's like, when you said that I made you feel safe, I was like, yeah. Like, almost like he's, like, proud of himself. And again, that's just another confirmation of how men actually really want to make a woman feel safe, and how it makes them feel like a man, and to be that protector, to be that provider. And how beautiful is that? And you know, I've spent a lot of time with men who are not safe in my past and experiencing abuse, and I've had to shift a lot of beliefs and heal some wounds around men to actually see men and be with men who love making me feel safe. And it's so beautiful to see that. And yeah, so that's where we ended the session. And then we kind of just talked about some of the reflections, and it was really beautiful. And I felt like it was so just nice for both of us to be in our vulnerability. And I love creating those spaces for men and women to be able to share these vulnerabilities around their bodies and their sexuality and their longings and desires. And yeah, so what I wanted to add here was that I'm not teaching the Yoni worship ritual I'm not doing a live demonstration of it. I may do one day. If you're keen for me to do that, let me know. Give me some hearts. I used to run a men's workshop called Her Orgasm, which I did teach Yoni massage, which is really beautiful. So, but I am teaching effectively the reverse, the Tantric cock worship ritual at my Art of Loving Men event. And we're demonstrating this live, so you can effectively see it as a fly on the wall. This is a women's workshop, but we are going to invite men in. So how that's going to work is that on the first day one, we do teaching with the women. So I'm co-facilitating with Aaron Kleinman, and we're going to be teaching the women all about loving men, understanding men, and a lot of the stuff I've shared about men on here, and exploring that more deeply, tapping into our inner masculine and evolving our inner masculine, and lots of juicy stuff, really. A lot of the things that I explore in my work with men and women. And then on the next day, we will be having the men come in the afternoon. It will be either the woman wants to bring her partner. If she doesn't have bring a partner, we have a number of men who want to volunteer to be part of this, and effectively they'll get to witness the Tantra cock worship ritual, and they will also get to be part of a ritual. At this stage, it's not a cock worship ritual. However, I'm open to the idea depending on what the woman wants in the workshop. So if you, and everything is always done within boundaries and consent as well. As you can see from what I've been sharing, I think that's really, really important to create safety for everyone, especially in workshop spaces. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, or and you want to come along, just send me a message or comment below, interested or event, so I know it's about the event, and I'll send you some details. You can also look up Art of Loving Men on Facebook. And so we're looking, obviously, opening this to women. The early bird ends today if you want to come along, and there are payment plans. It's actually really, really super valuable, really reasonable. So as I said, I just want to get this work out there, so I'm really excited to share it. And for men, we are looking for volunteers. So if you're a man, if you have a partner, I highly recommend you suggest that your partner comes, so that you can be guaranteed a place to come the next day. Or if you are not partnered up, and maybe you want to invite a friend, but maybe you can just comment below, you can message me. I'm kind of just starting a little list there, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free, if you're not on the live stream, you're watching the replay, to comment below. If you loved this live stream and you want more live streams like this, and kind of behind the scenes with EJ of her experiences, let me know. Like, give me some hearts. Like, keep, this. I love sharing my experiences. I have to ask permission to do this, because I don't want to share especially with clients, their experiences without their permission. But just love sharing from this vulnerability, from this place, because this is the real work. This is actually happening. Like, this is not me saying that this can happen. This is like, these are my experiences, and I know it's possible for everyone to feel this much pleasure, this much joy, this much happiness. And I want to share it with all of you. Like, I really, just feeling really passionate about this right now. So I hope that comes across and you feel it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've said everything I need to say. So wishing you so much love and joy and bliss, and feel free to reach out to me for anything, and we'll go from there. We'll flow. Much love, pleasure, bliss, and joy, or orgasmic life. Have a juicy orgasmic life. That's what I say. Bye.